She's got the apron, the perfect smile, but her charm's been missing for a while. Trying to be...
Hey, cats, kittens, puppies, dogs, daddies, horses, all you people out there in video land. Hey, y'all, I'm Joefer, the Cranky old gay guy. So I was listening to a podcast. It was called the Cover to Cover Podcast with Chris Frangiola. He is a comedian. I first got to experience his wit when he was on the old Chelsea Lately show years ago. So now he has a podcast, and I do listen. And this morning, I went through his things. I haven't heard him in a week or two. And it turns out that the Chili's movie that I reviewed yesterday, he reviewed on not this podcast, but a previous podcast, the one before this. So I guess great minds think alike. But today I'm giving him credit for today's subject matter, which is Meghan Markle's new Netflix show. I want to say it's called With Love, Meghan Markle, With Love, Meghan Markle. If you just type in Meghan Markle on Netflix, it'll come up. She has a new series where I think she's trying to present herself as the new Martha Stewart, because she does that around the house junk that nobody really does. And today, this is the first episode. They show her walking into it's bright, sunny, it's warm. There's the outdoors like a rock patio, and she's walking into this little house. It's very cute. I mean, it looks like a cottage that you might see in England as opposed to one you'd find in Southern California. But I think the atmosphere, and I think I saw a palm tree, so that probably wouldn't be England. Anyway, she goes in and it's a kitchen. And she starts talking about how she loves the little things and she loves decorating and thinking about her guests and stuff. And it's not like she has a guest house, but she's going to have a friend over later today. And they're going to be staying the night. So she's going to make something that she thinks is really important, and that is something on their nightstand so they'll have something to get up for in the morning and something to go to bed with. God, I don't know how she phrased it, but it's just junk that she's going to put on the nightstand. And then the other stuff is she's going to put something in the bathroom, because when you have a guest, I guess the bathroom is the number one place to leave a gift bag or something. Anyhow, she decides to do her bathroom gift is bath salts. So she puts a whole crap load of Epsom salts in a big jar. Well, she puts it in a bowl first, and she adds, what is it? Argan? Something to help bruising. While you're putting that in a bath balm salt for a guest, I guess you're just presuming that they're going to have bruises on their body. And she puts, I think, some lavender and some other essential oils in this salt. She stirs it up, and then she pours it into a jar, a big jar, like the kind you'd make sun tea or something in. Excuse me. And then she piles a bunch more salt on there. And so the stuff, and she also added pink salt to the Epsom salt. And so now you have this pink layer of salt in the bottom of the jar, and then she pours all this white salt on it. But then she doesn't shake it up or anything. Instead, they just flash to the next screen. It's a cut. And the jar's all mixed up, and she's got a wooden spoon in there. She takes that out, and now she talks about making bath tea bags. And she's got all these little silky bags that she starts putting potpourri pretty much in. She names each piece, but it's potpourri, and says she does this so you don't have to clean it out of the drain when the bath is finished. And I'm thinking, okay, so these are bath bags, balm bags. You're going to use one for your bath to get the aroma and all that going on. But instead, she left stuff at the top of the jar because she said, I like to put in a bath bag for them. Okay, that's fine. But she doesn't put in one. She puts in a whole bunch of them. She crams them in the top of the jar. So my question is if someone is going to use this bath salt for a bath, how do you get to the salt without first digging out all these bags? Or are you supposed to dump the entire thing into the bathtub? So you're going to have this entire, gallon of Epsom salts in the bath, as well as 7 or 8 tea bags floating around? If it's all supposed to be used at the same time, why not just make one floating tea bag? And you don't have all this little stuff. I don't understand it. I also don't understand why, if you went to visit somebody and you're going to stay overnight, why you would take a bath, for one thing. But you're going to go to bed and suddenly you want to spend the next hour taking a bath. I mean, if you're dirty or something, take a shower, relax, go to bed. But who goes to another person's house to take a bath as a guest? I just find that incomprehensible. Also, she decided to create snacks. So she took black dried corn cobs and she put one in a paper bag and then put it in the microwave, and it popped, and she was giddy about it and said, it's so fun for kids and I like it too. So it was popcorn still on the cob. It was still on the cob. I don't think it was anything incredible. And most of the popcorn that you buy is in a bag. I guess you can still buy it on the cob. Why she has this in the kitchen, I don't know, but she does. And then she picked up a bag of peanut butter pretzels and said, I just love these, but I don't like them in this bag. I take them out of the bag and put them in little bags. And then she ties a little note on them and labels them in a little calligraphy handwriting kind of thing, swirlies. So it looks fancy. And she puts those on the nightstand so her guest will have something to snack on in bed. Well, the popcorn's going to be cold because she's doing all this, by the way, the day the guest is arriving that night. She's doing this during the day. So I don't get that. And then the guest arrives. Well, she says, I'm putting all of this stuff on this fancy wooden tray here so I can take it back and prep the guest room, because this is not my house. I'm going to take this back to my house. So where did she go? And I'm sure, and by the way, this kitchen is beautiful, of course, and all the shelves are spotless with all of the ingredients and fruit jars and all this stuff. No brand names. It's just all quaint and country kitchen kind of thing, but modern. Why, if she's having a house guest at her house, why doesn't she just do these things in her own kitchen? Got me. I don't understand it. And then her guest shows up. He's like a hairstylist or something she's used for a long time. And he says he's from New York. But he comes in and she has been working on this vegetable platter for him. And it's not just a vegetable platter. It is a big tray of vegetables that she's put 3 sauce cups in the middle. And then she's put vegetables around in a circle. So it splays out. The celery stalks splay out like it's a sunburst or something. And then she adds fancy vegetables that she slices up and sticks on there. And it's a huge, huge thing. Okay, she probably used 2 or 3 bags of celery and a crap load of vegetables for this vegetable tray. She doesn't really state what the sauces are, so I don't know what they are. But he comes in and he goes, oh, that tray looks beautiful. And she goes, oh, well, it's Pure Joy or something like that, which is the name of the show. And it's also, I think, the name of her brand. She's trying to sell home goods like Martha Stewart. He said something like, oh, it's so beautiful. And she goes, it's just sliced vegetables. It was nothing. And he goes, how long did this take? And she goes, it was just love. And then he picks up this pea pod, like they're the baby peas still in the pod. And she's broke them open. And then she's put the peas back on the pod. So it's like a little serving cup. And he goes, oh, I've never seen peas served this way before. This is beautiful. And then again, she giggles or something and says, it's just love. it was really dumb. It's a 45-minute episode. I made it 18 minutes and 11 seconds before I wanted to shoot myself. The show opens with some close-ups of bees on flowers, and then her in a beekeeper suit with another guy who's also in a beekeeper suit. And they go out to a hive, and she talks about how she didn't used to have bees, or she said, I've had bees for a year now, but I still can't do this myself. I'm too scared. And that would be opening the hive to scrape the honey. And they do that. And the guy, the beekeeper, is really goofy. I mean, he's goofy. Yeah. So they smoke the bees, and then they open it up and scrape the bees off, or he scrapes the bees off of the honey. She just stands there in awe saying, oh, we have so much honey. Oh, we have so much honey. And that's all we see of that until after this guest thing. And then just as I was turning it off, I was at 18 minutes, and then I fast forwarded with my finger on my tablet just to see how long it was. And somewhere down the way, we visit the beekeeper again because he's talking about something. I don't know. I couldn't go back and watch it. It was too dreadful for me. Chris on his podcast asked, who's the audience for this? And I have to tell you, I have no idea. I know that I'm not the audience for this. Much like Meghan's foray into podcasting, she did this podcast called Archetype. I think there's 10 or 12 episodes in it. It was her first contractual podcast with, I don't know, her first podcast company dropped her, and she ended up going with Lemon Lime or Lemony, some podcast company that also is, I think, failing. And on that, Archetype was supposed to be a podcast about her interviewing strong women or important women in the world. And it was terrible. The interviews were obviously her reading a script, and she wasn't really with any of the women that she was interviewing. They were then answering questions after hearing her script. So they were never in the same place at the same time. And it was edited together to make it appear as if she was, in the same room as them. But it was obvious that she wasn't, just by the way that her guests talked, that no, they weren't anywhere near her. And that I made it through, parts of 3 or 4 of her podcast episodes, but couldn't go any further. Again, it was horrible. And I must add that in this Netflix series, the way that she talks is very plastic and artificial. And I'm sure she doesn't sound like that in everyday life, but it sounds more like she's trying to convince the audience that I'm a sweet, innocent girl who all I live for is to make my guests happy and make other people happy because it's all about love. She did mention that when she was an actress on Suits, that's where she met this hairdresser guy. He might be a makeup guy. I'm not sure. They just showed her in a chair and he was doing something, walking around her. What I don't get, and the tie-in with Chris Franjola, is that before Chelsea Lately, and I think during the early Chelsea Lately days, he worked in a restaurant called Mirabelle in LA, and she was a waitress there. So they knew each other. So he brings her up a lot. I remember when she was part of the whole royal thing before the big scandals or the exile. Interviews would mention how she was just a hardworking girl and she worked in a yogurt shop, but they never mentioned Mirabelle. And, it was a high-end restaurant that she worked at where she got to mingle with celebrities. And I don't understand why that's always left out. And instead they just mention that when she was 16, she worked in a yogurt shop. I don't get it. I guess I just don't get Meghan Markle. I think that as an actress, she might be good. I haven't watched Suits, so I don't know. But as a hostess on a Netflix show, that's not a cooking show, it's a lifestyle show, I don't get it. If any of you out there get it, please comment and let me know. And on that, it didn't make me as cranky as I think tomorrow's episode is going to be, because I'm going to talk about something else. On that note, I'm going to let y'all go. It is Thursday, the 6th of February. The sunshine is out, but it's only like a little over 40 degrees, so it's still cold. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one and stay cranky.
She's got the apron, the perfect smile, but her charm's been missing for a while. Trying to be Martha, but it's clear to see this plastic perfection ain't fooling me. Oh, it's the show that nobody asked for. Polished smiles and a forced rapport. Unrelatable, try as she might. This lifestyle show just ain't right. Creations no one wants to see, perfectly pointless as they can be. Her world's too polished, her tone's too sweet. It's a Pinterest fail on repeat. Oh, it's the show that nobody asked for. Polished smiles and a forced rapport. Unrelatable, try as she might. This lifestyle show just ain't right. We want real, we want raw, not a Stepford host with a plastic draw. Give us mess, give us life, not a cookie cutter picture perfect wife. Oh, it's the show that nobody asked for. Polished smiles and a forced rapport. Unrelatable, try as she might. This lifestyle show just ain't right. So here's to skipping this TV mess. We'll take authenticity, nothing less. Martha's throne is safe, don't you fret. This wannabe queen's not a threat. Oh, it's the show that nobody asked for. Polished smiles and a forced rapport. Unrelatable, try as she might. This lifestyle show just